Okay, guys, in this video, we're going to look at some of our application problems. So, one of the ones that you are very frequently going to see are the shadows example. So, I just went ahead and took a screenshot so I can actually draw on my screen and show you what's what here. So, imagine you have a tower, right? And the tower is 72 feet tall, and you can measure the shadow, and the shadow is 60 feet. Okay, so that's not that hard. Suppose that you also can measure, because it's on the ground, the shadow of a tree. Now you want to know how tall is the tree. Okay? And what you're going to do is set up proportions. Now, what they tell you is that the height should be the numerator. So on the top, I'm going to have the height. Okay? So this is going to be height. And on the bottom, I am going to have the shadow. That's what it tells me. Okay, so let's take the tower. Let's take the tower. So the height of the tower should be on the top. So that's where you put 72. The shadow should be on the bottom. So the shadow for the tower is 60. So what we just did is this is the tower. Okay, now we want to make this equal the same exact thing for the tree. So let's just figure out what's what here. So we know that the shadow is 33, and the shadow has to go on the bottom, right? Because that corresponds to this one right here, right? And the shadow is on the bottom. And the height we don't know, so let's call that x. See? This is how I set it up. So height with height, shadow with shadow. And now I'm just trying to solve it. So in order to solve it, you could just gonna cross multiply, right? So remember how do we cross multiply? Is we're gonna multiply like this, and then multiply like that, and then make them equal each other. So I can go ahead do that. So if I take 72 multiplied by 33, that should be equal to 60 multiplied by x. Now I will divide both sides by 60, and that's how I will solve for the height of the tree. So this computation is what I need. So if I go ahead and go to my calculator, and I'll just have this side by side, I just need to multiply 72 by 33, and then I'm going to divide that by 60, and that should tell me that that's 39.6, which should make sense, right? That the tree is going to be slightly taller than the shadow, just like the tower is taller than its shadow. The tree is also going to be taller. Okay, so now let's take a look at one more example, and that one took a screenshot of example 3 on the Desmos. So it's the same kind of idea. So these are called similar triangles. So similar triangles are triangles that basically have proportionate sides, right? So we're going to set up the same exact thing, right? We're going to set up a proportion. So just give me 1 second. I need to open this in a different app so that I can actually draw on it. All right, so I opened that here. So let's go ahead and draw. Okay, so we can see that, and it doesn't really matter what you're gonna put on where, but it tells you that the height of the ramp, this is like a wheelchair ramp and another ramp, okay? So the height should be on the top. That's what they say. So height should be on the top, and then the denominator would be the length of the ramp. Okay, so let's take a look at the green ramp. The height of it is 2.25, right? That's the height. So that's going to be over here. And then the length of the ramp is 9, so that goes on the bottom. Okay, so for the red one, the height is 1.6, so that should be on the top. And then the length we don't know, that's x. So once you set up the proportion, then it's pretty easy to solve. So you're just gonna cross multiply, make them equal each other. So 2.25x equals 9 times 1.9, and then both sides divide by 2.25. That is gonna give me my x. So having that side by side, let's see if we can find the calculator here. So I take 9, multiply that by 1.9, divide that by 2.25, and that gives me 7.6. So that should make sense. Again, I always check this answer for whether it makes sense. So this does make sense that this is 7.6 because, proportionally, right? If this was height 2.25, that was 9. This height is smaller, that's 1.6. So 7.6 actually makes sense. So that is correct. But the main idea, the most important thing that you need to understand that when you set up these proportions is that you have to match, like the height is over here, over here. The length is over here, over here. So if it doesn't work, you're gonna switch them around, you're gonna get the problem wrong. So always match them, right? So what's given and then what you're trying to find. All right, that's it.